Shalom, call Halaim like Hawwa Bashem, Yahushai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and a sincere shalom to the 144,001 third. Now, the title of this lesson is Don't Forget, U.S. Enemies Are in Latin America. Now, Russia, China, and Iran, whatever, are confirmed to be having a military presence in multiple Latin American countries, islands, so on and so forth. I could have sworn North Korea was mentioned in there too. I couldn't find anything, although I didn't do a very um, deep look into it for North Korea. But my memory, um, my memory has North Korea being in, I believe, Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. North Korea was, and regardless, North Korea signed a military deal for 15 years or so with Russia, and it's confirmed that North Korean soldiers were in the Ukraine war. So you best believe when things start popping off that these North Korean soldiers will be with Russia when they start invading and launching nukes on America. So let's dive into these few articles right here. Chinese military delegation to pay 5-day visit in Mexico. So you got to ask yourself, why is a U.S. enemy? Why is a country that clearly is not friendly with the U.S. bringing their military right to the U.S. doorsteps? There's only one logical answer. They're preparing for an invasion. It's the only logical answer. A Chinese military delegation will pay a 5-day trip to Mexico this week, Beijing said on Monday. In a statement, the Chinese Defense Ministry said the delegation of the People's Liberation Army will visit the North American country from Wednesday to Sunday. The Chinese delegation will also participate in a celebration parade, the statement added. So guess what? And Trump may bring this up with his tariffs on the end of the month or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? But guess what? China is rocking with Mexico, man, for the time being, at least against Babylon, against the U.S. And what comes to mind, because Mexico got a small hat president now, and there's the tariff, which is the tariff stuff is nonsense. I don't believe Trump is genuinely going to put tariffs on Mexico and Canada. But check this out right here. Obadiah, the first chapter. There's only one chapter in here. Obadiah 1 and verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So this doesn't only apply to Babylon. This applies to Edom. Edom is a larger scope than Babylon. Edom is Canada, the U.S., Babylon the Great, all right, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. You got Edomite presence in Argentina and Brazil and South Africa, Russia, right? The small hats in our land. Those are all Edomites. So this goes for all of Esau. So of course the main target here is going to be Babylon the Great, because this is Esau's uh, home base. Their might, their power, their glory is the U.S. That being said, the U.S. is tapped in with Mexico and all these other countries, Europe. The Europeans, all right, Mexico, the UN, NATO, all that. The UK too, which is part of NATO still, even though they're not a part of EU. They're all going to turn on the U.S. And all these countries that are aligning themselves with Russia, they're going to turn on the Russians, because Russia is still Edomites. Obadiah, the first chapter, still applies to them Russians, man. Um, let's go to this right here. Okay. All right, that's not loading for whatever reason. That's all right. Can find another one. It's cool. All right, here we go. Right here, this seems like it's China. I need to find that one with Russia. So you see right here, Council of Foreign Regulations. Um, all right, perfect. Let's see if this loads up right here. Delete that. All right. China's growing influence in Latin America. For more than 20 years, China has developed close economic and security ties with many Latin American countries, including Brazil and Venezuela. But Beijing's growing sway in the region, Slovakia, has raised concerns in Washington and beyond. Yeah, because your enemy is at your doorstep. Beijing has invested heavily in Latin America's space sector and has strengthened its military ties with several countries, particularly Venezuela. Yeah, Venezuela's uh, communistic, if I'm not mistaken, and Venezuela has beef with the U.S. So why do you think China chose Venezuela and Russia chose Cuba and so on and so forth? They're not very nice with the U.S. and Brazil starting to have a set off period, and Nicaragua too. You know they're not very friendly with Babylon. China's role in Latin America and the Caribbean has grown. And again, these Xi Jinping and Putin, they know these are all Jakes. They know those are Israelites. So you best believe they're gonna try some nasty stuff when the time is right. To them Jakes over there, trusting your enemy, because these are still the enemies of our people, whether they like it or not, whether they understand it or they're ignorant of it. The U.S. and its allies, though, fear that Beijing is using these relationships to pursue its geopolitical goals, like the further isolation of Taiwan and bolster authoritarian regimes such as those in Cuba and Venezuela. U.S. President Joe Biden saw China as a strategic competitor in the region, but the re-election of Donald Trump has promised a wide array of trade measures, including tariffs on Mexico, could signal a significantly more confrontational approach to China in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Now that Russia's up in there, that could lead to um some conflict, since this may be brought up because Joe Biden didn't bring, because this started popping off during Joe Biden's reign. Now that Trump is in there, he may bring all this up with China, North Korea, and Russia and Iran. Man, Iran. Trump doesn't like Iran, and Iran has warships in in Panama. Confirmed. They brought warships through there. Iranian navy sending ships to Panama Canal, says commander. The Islamic Republic of Iran is sending ships to the Panama Canal, according to an article published in state-run media Friday. The Iranian Navy has yet to operate in two straits in the world. Navy Commander Rear Admiral Shahram Irani said Wednesday at a naval ceremony. Um, Today, if my comrades are approaching the shores of the American continent, they are showing signs of authority of dear Iran. So this is them flexing, man. This is saying, hey, our warships at your doorstep, Babylon. This is what this is. You see, the pride of these Americans think they can't get invaded. Like if you look at these Edomite preppers, all right, they may be Jake. Some of them Edom so-called white-looking preppers could be Israelites, but for the most part, they move around like they're Edomites. They look like Edomites. All right. So these Edomites, man, that are in Babylon, and of course some Jakes too. You know, they take this pride. They take on what is it called, Stockholm syndrome. They think, oh, America can't be invaded. America can only fall from within and all that. No, man, America's going to be invaded. It's going to be a full. You're going to have paratroopers. You're going to have these warships pulling up. It's going to be nasty. And China has better technology than U.S. Russia and China both have better technology than the U.S. Russia has better nukes. You should look at, China has a whole phone called a Huawei something, Huawei Mate X, XM, XL, LX, something like that. It's a phone, right? Like it's like the shape of like, and I'm talking about the length and the height. So the length and the height is about the size of an iPhone Pro Max, and the thickness is a little bit thicker. But guess what? It unfolds. It unfolds like the phone folds. It's 3 times the size. So it's basically like having like a iPad, like a 10.9 inch or 11-inch iPad in your pocket that can unfold, and unfold. It's a ridiculous technology, and you can't even see the creases in the screen that it when it folds. America ain't making that. You don't see Esau popping that out. Okay, you got all those foldable phones for the most part are from China, and the ones you see from like Google and all that, the Pixel, whatever it's called, it sucks. And the drones, the majority of these drones are from China. You go look at videos of China, their technology is much more beyond what America has. Far beyond. So Esau, these Edomites, these proud boys, they gotta they're gonna have another thing coming, man. Another thing coming. All these countries are gonna align themselves and invade this place and rain nukes. Iran got nukes, China, Russia, they got nukes, and don't get fooled. All the nukes that are, oh, China has 400 or 500 nukes, Russia has whatever thousand. Nah, they got more than that, or at least they gonna build more than that once these war drums start beating. Let's go to Second Ezra 15, then I'm gonna go to Joel, the third chapter. Second Ezra 15 and verse 28. Behold, in horrible vision, an appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragon in Arabia shall come out with many chariots, so vehicles. It's gonna be warships, drones, fighter jets, tanks, them amphibious tanks, all aircraft carriers, all that. When the nations of the dragon in Arabia shall come with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So imagine you're in Babylon, and it's this post-apocalyptic dystopian society, and you just see thousands and thousands of drones in the sky, and they're shooting laser beams, and you see these warships coming in, and you see these Ishmaelites, these Moabites, these Russian Edomites. What else? Them the North Korean, South Chinese. They're both Moabites. Um, them Iranians, the Elamites. They all coming with their weapons, and you gotta understand that these weapons that they coming with is gonna be weapons that we already know that exist, and weapons that haven't been used before. When you look at all the history of these, the first woe, the second woe, the first woe, I believe that's when the tanks hit the scene. Tanks really weren't a thing until World War I, and in World War II, you had the fighter jets and then the nuclear bombs. So what do you think is going to be with World War III? You don't think they're going to pull out new type of weapons and guns and armor? Nah, man, they are. They're going to bring out some new stuff. Verse verse 30. Also the Carmenians, so that you're gonna have Ishmael countries and these Elam countries, the so-called Persians, Indians. All right, those are Elamites. Also the Carmenians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Syrians. So they gonna bust a move on this place. They gonna get it cracking. It is, and America's gonna lose. Babylon is gonna lose 100%. It's not gonna be like, oh, it's even, and no, this place is going down. The pound town, man. I'm not talking about the sexual innuendo. I'm talking about nuclear destruction. This place is gonna get ravaged. But that's the spirit that I said that though. Pound town. Let's get this. Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is eight right there, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So this place is through. This place is out the door. So let's go to Joel 3:1. Joel the third chapter. I might not start at verse 1. Let me see. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So this is what's about to go down. These countries, they're saying, hey, we're strong, we're powerful. We got technology, we got advanced technology too. We got nukes too. We're gonna have bulletproof armor. We got bullets that can curve around corners, and we got all that. We got that too. Jeremiah 50:23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? And this is U.S. The U.S. was at one point. The U.S. was a very feared and mighty country. Now the world is laughing at the U.S. It's going out the door. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken up, O Babylon. And thou was not aware, thou art found and even caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. So this place is through. New silent war, China and Russia's military training and weapons in Latin American terrain. So what do you think is gonna happen? You don't think Trump is gonna bring this up? I'm pretty sure Trump is gonna bring this up, man. I don't understand why he wouldn't bring this up. Why do you think he's saying, "Oh, we want to take the Panama Canal. Oh, we want Greenland. Oh, you see?" In recent decades, the geopolitical scenario in Latin America has undergone significant changes, particularly in the area of military training and arms trade. While the region has historically maintained close relations with NATO powers, the growing involvement of China and Russia signals a change in security and defense landscape. Institutions such as the Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation have played an important role in collaborating and strengthening relations between the armed forces of friendly nations and NATO countries, contributing to a more important role contributing to a more unified hemispheric environment, starting from an exploration of the historical evolution of military training in Latin America. This article aims to examine the emerging role of China and Russia in the arms trade and military training in the region in order to analyze the implications and challenges that this represents for geopolitical security in Latin America. So this place is through. During the Cold War, Latin America played a strategic role on a global geopolitical chessboard. Most Latin American nations established military alliances agreements with the U.S. and other NATO powers. These alliances reflected military training programs and arms trade, strengthened the region's defense capabilities, international security assistance initiative, and bilateral agreements with EU countries are the most notable U.S. military sensitive arrangement in the region. However, as the Cold War came to an end, new actors emerged on the regional scene. China and Russia, in particular, North Korea and Iran now as well. All right, that's not written, but that's what's going down. And I'm talking about written in this article. Have increased their presence and involvement in the region, ushering in a new era of military relations and arms trade in Latin America. So, what do you think is going to happen when war starts breaking out? Let's go to Ezekiel 38 because that clearly explains what's about to go down. What's about to go down, man. Ezekiel 38 chapter, man, is jumping off the pages with these articles, man. And there's videos too. There's videos of Russia and warships in Cuba and Russia and China and I think North Korea and Venezuela and Nicaragua. And there's videos of the Chinese military in the parade in Mexico. This is real. Ezekiel 38 and verse 3. And say, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. So Russia's about to become hard ass. Excuse my tongue. Russia's about to become hardened against the U.S. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. There you go. Even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords. Persia, the Elamites, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So you're gonna have all these countries, Latin America and the Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean, and these planes and drones, and they gonna come in this place, man, and run this place down to the ground. Literally, this place is gonna get destroyed. This is gonna be an invasion. This place is gonna be invaded. You understand? This is biblical prophecy for America to be invaded. Revelations 20 and 8. and shall verse 7, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. That's talking about Esau, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is at the sand of the sea. And that ultimate battle that's going to be gathered is to be against Yahweh Shah. That's going to be the ultimate battle. Esau is going to have all the nations uh, come together once the invasion happens. Till then, they're going to be Russia and all these other countries are pretty much going to go against the U.S. And sooner rather than later, the EU and NATO countries are going to turn on the U.S. All right, and this place is going to be taken out. This is the end goal for the reign of the heathen on the earth. Let's end this off in Jeremiah 51st chapter and verse 2 and verse 1. Thus said Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And I will send unto Babylon fanners. They shall fan her and shall empty her land for the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about. So guess what? This place is going to get pelted. This place is going to get pelted with nuclear weapons. Russia, China, North Korea, they all, Iran, the Ishmaelites, they going to pelt this place with nukes. It's going to be a done deal. I don't want to watch this. I was edifying. Hey, shalom.